All right, everybody, welcome to a very special episode of Not Your Mother's Goose. As today we're taking you back to the stories of your childhood with songs that may have been from your childhood, but not the same ones. You'll see. If you're a fan of the show, you know we often close things out with a tune from Rapunzel's Jukebox, our parody machine, thanks to our incredible singer, arranger, trombonist, and kazooist Andrew Mitchell. About a year ago, we did a Rapunzel's Jukebox Behind the Music special, which is one of the most downloaded shows we've ever put together. We've done a bunch of new songs since then, so we thought it was time to do it again. In fact, we've done so many tunes that rather than do one really long episode, we're going to split this into two parts, and that means you're going to get Not Your Mother's Goose this week and next week, just so we can get through everything. Last time I kind of played the disc jockey, and then we had Andrew on for an interview. But this time we thought we'd have him on for all the fun and let him tell you about the songs as they come on. So here we go. It's Rapunzel's Jukebox Behind the Music 2, or 2A, I suppose, here on Not Your Mother's Goose. Here we are. He is back. Andrew Mitchell, our resident singer, kazooist, trombonist, you name it. Singer on Rapunzel's Jukebox from the beginning. Also a bookstore guy in the greater Boston area. Andrew, we talked to you a year ago. You were stuck up in a tower. How's things going? What have you been up to in this past year since we heard from you?
Hey, Topher. Good to see you again. I'm still stuck up, and I'm still stuck up here in this tower, too. So I had a great time. I'm keeping my kazoo polished, cranking out the jams for Rapunzel's Jukebox, and one of these days they're going to send me a long length of hair that I can climb out of here with. But
there you go. I'll tell folks what we're going to do today. Last time on our Behind the Music special, we just kind of did an interview with you while I played the songs, but I thought you might like to play DJ as well, because it kind of gives folks an opportunity to hear how you do the recording and production part of the songs. That I just send you some lyrics and I make you do the rest. So let's just kind of go through this song by song, picking up where we were when we left off. And that means that we start with the I'm Henry VIII I Am parody, I'm Mary with a Little Lamb. This song came about while I was driving to the dentist. That song came on, and with all due respect to Peter Noon, I basically thought, this is the silliest song I have ever heard. There's got to be a way to parody this. And I went to the dentist, I went home, and in a matter of about 45 minutes, had something to write to send to you. And I sent it with more or less an apology for making you sing this song. And you said, no, you've got history with this song.
Oh, yeah, I love this song. But it may be in the running for dumbest song ever. I mean, that's a longer conversation, maybe
right?
For a separate episode. But yeah, I used to work as a Cub Scout camp counselor in Vermont, and I used to sing this song with the Cub Scouts in the dining hall. You know, right after breakfast, we'd get together, or maybe around the campfire, and they love the sing-along aspect of this song. You know, the "No, Sam."
Second verse, same as the first, a whole lot louder and a whole lot worse.
You got it, a whole lot louder and a whole lot worse. Who doesn't love singing something like that? So, unfortunately, that bit did not make it into the Not Your Mother's Goose.
Well, I just assume that the listeners are doing that part at home.
Right. If they're not turning off the dial completely.
Yeah. You're looking for the close button. All right, well, let's turn it on here. So we'll get things started. Here comes Andrew Mitchell on Rapunzel's Jukebox with Mary with the Little Lamb.
I'm Mary with the little lamb, Mary with the little lamb I am. I went walking to the school and the store. Every time the lamb was at the door, and all the thing does is follow me, follow me. I think it's gonna get me in a jam, no jam, cause the stupid lamb just follows me. Mary with the little lamb. Second verse, not like the first. I'm Little Red Riding Hood, Little Red Riding Hood, all good. I went walking to my granny's next door. Big bad wolf, he got there just before his dinner. It was my gran and me. He wouldn't eat a burger or a ham. No ham, we're a 4-course meal, my gran and me. Little Red, I taste like Spam. I'm Mary with a little lamb, Mary with a little lamb I am. I went walking to the school and the store. Every time the lamb was at the door, and all the thing does is follow me, follow me. I think it's gonna get me in a jam, no jam, cause the stupid lamb just follows me. Mary with the little lamb. M-A-R-Y. Merry with the little lamb I am. Merry with the little lamb.
Andrew Mitchell here on Rapunzel's Jukebox, Merry with the Little Lamb in place of I'm Henry VIII I Am. And we also had that little bit at the end where we were trying to figure out what's the proper way to spell Mary, because Henry's got 5 letters. Mary doesn't in the correct version.
You know it's a good song when you can't figure out how to spell the word Mary. There's a lot of debate that goes on into the production side of these songs, and these lyrics are not slapdash. There's a lot of careful work that goes into them, and that's just another example of it. Topher sending me some carefully crafted piece of genius, and I just sort of trample all over it. Change the meaning of the song.
I do remember listening to that. I'm like, M-A-R-R-Y. Wait.
And it just fits better.
That's true. That's true. All right, on we go. Episode 16 brought us our second song from Dion, which I gotta believe that's like a Wikipedia entry for him. First artist to have 2 songs on Rapunzel's Jukebox. As we turned Runaround Sue into Runaround You. What do you remember from putting that one together?
Well, that song had a bit of a challenge because of that slow introduction. Dion himself is such an expressive singer, and I was trying to get some of that desperation, really get into the character of someone who thought they were winning that race, only to have the whole thing yanked out from under them.
It's interesting how slow stuff is actually harder to do for this, because many times if something is tricky, there's a weird rhythm, or I've messed with an accented syllable or something like that, I'll send Andrew a demo, which is also interesting because I can't sing. But I remember on that one trying to do it and thinking, oh man, I can't even show him how to do it. So have fun, buddy. We'll see what we get.
Yeah. I'd actually just gotten my COVID vaccination shot the morning that I recorded this song. So maybe I was just trying to push through, whatever side effects were
there you go. You got to get it done in that. You got that like 12-hour window.
That's right. I do.
Song's got to be done. All right. Well, let's show people what we've got here. Here is our second offering from Dion. It's Run Around You on Rapunzel's Jukebox on Not Your Mother's Goose.
Here's my story. It's sad but true. It's about a race that I once blew. I called him out and laid it down. Went off to race all over town. Hey, hey, go, 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 ba, 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 go. From the very start, it wasn't long for we were miles apart. But listen people, if you take a snooze, well, that tortoise, he's gonna run around you. Yeah, I was out in front and was crushing the race. I figured that I could just nap here in place, but I guess it's best not to sleep till it's through. Oh, that tortoise, he's gonna run around you. Yeah, go, 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 go. Go, go. He's out here covering ground, yeah, he's spotted but he gets around. Cause slow and steady wins the prize. And we ain't doing jazzercise. Here's the moral and the story from that hare who knows. I nodded off and I took a dose. Clear out the path cause he's coming through. That old tortoise, he's gonna run around you. Don't mess around. Yeah, don't just give it a whirl. If you sit there like glue, he'll be beating you. He's out here covering ground, yeah, he's plotting but he gets around. Cause slow and steady wins the prize. We ain't doing jazzercise. Here's the moral and the story from that hare who knows. I nodded off and I took a dose. clear out the path, 'cause he's coming through that old tortoise. He's gonna run around you, yeah. Go, 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 yeah.
And the poor hare has gone down to defeat once again on Run Around You, courtesy of Andrew Mitchell here on Not Your Mother's Goose. Move on to our next song, Andrew, and that is Pride Rock, Pride Rock. And I want to tell the story of how this one came about. We were working on Bad Bad Leroy Brown, which turned into Bad Bad Captain Hook. And you in an email mentioned that you had found a Sinatra version, then said, we ought to try to do a Sinatra song. You sent that email at 10:53 a.m. I went back and looked. And at 8:59 p.m. the same day, I sent back Pride Rock, Pride Rock. Because we had sent a couple emails and I said, maybe we could do something to New York, New York. And the way this thing came about was like, all right, think of a fairy tale or children's story based location with 2 syllables. And the first one that I thought of was Pride Rock, and managed to come up with something. But I've got to believe that song was one of the most challenging ones for you to record.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I think the lyrics are great. And I think you look at those timestamps and sometimes that's how it works. It just comes together in a flash. But that was one of the hardest songs to record. And it's also, I think, the only one where there's just a single vocal track on top of the karaoke backing. There's no additional instruments. There's no overdub vocals. It ends up being one of my favorites just because the performance is all there. And that's a single take. But there were a lot of takes to get there to that point. There's such a range in the song where it starts kind of quiet, almost kind of confessional, like he's talking to you, start spreading the news, I'm leaving today. And then it ends with this huge, grandiose chorus line type, finale. And so you have to get from point A to point B in that song. And the climactic moment where he's pushing Scar off the cliff, I love singing that line, give Scar a shove. I hope my neighbors appreciated that one as much as I did.
If there's a Behind the Music 3, they should probably be the guests. We don't know what's up with this guy next door.
What is going on? First is the Jungle Bum Blues. Now he's giving somebody a shove.
All right, well, let's let folks live along with that. Simba coming back to town on Pride Rock, Pride Rock.
Start telling Zazu that I'm on my way. I'm gonna be in charge of it. Pride Rock, Pride Rock. These Jungle Bum Blues ate grubs yesterday. That dumb stampede, it started it. Pride Rock, Pride Rock. I want to wake up in a grassland with wildebeests and find I'm king of gorge, the boss of the feast. My grub-eating crew keep belching away before they go and fart again. Find me, Pride Rock. If I just get back there, I'll finally cut my hair. I'll come and rule. Pride Rock, Pride Rock. Pride Rock, Pride Rock. I want to hand off our new kiddo to old Rafik. Old Nala's feeling the love circle of life. Dad's in the clouds, give Scar a shove. These Jungle Bum Blues stupid Uncle Scar, he started it on old Pride Rock, and if Nala takes me there, you know that Scar won't have a prayer. I'm here for you, Pride Rock, Pride Rock. Pride Rock.
Back here on Not Your Mother's Goose Behind the Music, that was Pride Rock, the triumph of Simba. Now we'll go to not so much of a triumph. We're up to episode 19, and this one is Dress Me, Drape Me, to Bend Me, Shape Me by the American Breed, which is kind of a random song to just bring out of nowhere. You know how you play a song on YouTube, you're then not paying much attention, and it just picks out what you're going to listen to next, which may be connected, and it might be a tutorial on how to use Windows 95. I think that's how this came on. And I believe that the Bend Me, Shape Me line, I just kind of heard Dress Me, Drape Me, or maybe it was even Dress Me, Cape Me at that point, and thought, that's the Emperor's New Clothes. And this was right when you were really starting to bring the kazoo into things that has now kind of become a hallmark of these songs.
Yeah, and I think the kazoo was a lot of fun on this song. I mean, this song's kind of cool because it's got the backing vocals, and then I put in those kazoos, and I thought the kazoos almost reminded me of that sort of line of horns when the king arrives, you know, especially in a Disney cartoon, and they're all kind of synchronized and a little oversized. Mm-hmm. Yeah, pronouncing the arrival of the king. The whole song kind of reminds me of music theater because it's telling the story in a first person, and he goes on a little journey where he starts out being very confident, and then it's time to go stride. That kid that he called a dummy in the first half of the song, now he's telling him to keep his mouth shut, to keep it under wraps here. He can't even get through the front door of a restaurant. Right. So
that was one of the things that I loved writing, Matt, is that verse in the middle where he figures it out. And that was what I wanted to make sure that I conveyed to you so that you could convey in the song. So as folks listen to this, it's Dress Me, Drape Me, to Bend Me, Shape Me from the American Breed. But listen for the moment where the Emperor figures out that things are not going well here on Not Your Mother's Goose.
I could use some fashion advice, and baby, I know it. But you say this fabric you use, you don't even sew it. I'll pay you all of my gold. They're out there standing in line for my parade. I gotta look fine. Dress me, drape me, time to take a Chauncey. Man, this stuff's comfy, it's so light. Clothe me, cape me, no one's gonna taunt me. Frostbite be darned, I'll be looking fly. If you cannot see my new duds, it means you're a dummy. But just because you don't have my brains, no need to feel crummy. They'll probably laugh, I don't care, 'cause I got nothing to hide. Hang it all loose, it's time to go stride. Dress me, drape me, now it's time to flaunt me. Now that I'm looking, this ain't right. Clothe me, cape me, uh-oh, this might haunt me. Dunces can't see it, but neither can I. Dress me, drape me, run off nonchalantly. Kid, keep your mouth shut, help my plight. Clothe me, cape me, find a restaurant. See, no shirt, no shoes, no service tonight. Yeah, dress me, drape me, run
Back here on Not Your Mother's Goose with Andrew Mitchell, our Rapunzel's Jukebox singer, and I still love that transition, and I think you hit the nail on the head. We'll jump now over to Bad Bad Captain Hook. We referenced this earlier with Bad Bad Leroy Brown. This all came out of a group game night that I was having over Zoom, where basically, if you've ever played the game Code Names, you have to give clues and so forth. And my friend gave Leroy Brown as a clue. It went very poorly, and we were basically asking what was going on. And it turns out that he thought that Leroy Brown was a dog, not just a person who's meaner than a junkyard dog. And you can imagine that didn't go so hot. That's what put that song in my mind. And so the next day I downloaded it and thought, all right, what can I write to this? Because my first thought was to do Bad Bad Big Bad Wolf, but it just felt like the word bad was in there too many times. And so then I changed that to Captain Hook. And I also remember that I flipped back and forth in terms of the order that Prince Hans and Gaston were going to be used at the end of that chorus, because it actually will work either way. And I couldn't decide which one I liked. And I remember playing it the first time you sent it back, and you've got that "yarr" at the beginning. Yarr! And I was laughing before the song even started.
That song has such a long intro, and that's where Jim Croce he says something like whatever his exclamation was. It felt appropriate, and that's one of my few lyrical contributions to this whole endeavor here, so I'm glad it went over so well.
All right, well, listen for the, now we've spoiled the punchline, but it's coming right now. Here we go with Bad Bad Captain Hook on Not Your Mother's Goose.
Yarr! On the south side of the island lives a super famous crook. So if you're sailing there, you better look, don't stare at the dude named Captain Hook. Now Hook, he's causing trouble. You know it ain't all just about the sword. Got him walking planks, you better say no thanks before he settles up the score. And he bad, bad Captain Hook, baddest man in the whole damn book. Better than old Prince Hans, and meaner than my man Gaston. Now Captain's hat is feathered, and he got some fancy clothes, and he likes to twirl that big mustache right there just underneath his nose. He got a boat named Jolly Roger, he got an interesting crew. He got a buddy named Smee and a croc he must flee. He got a Peter problem too. And he's bad, 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 bad Captain Hook, baddest man in the whole damn book. Better than old Prince Hans, and meaner than my man Gaston. Now Hook, he wanted Pete to go, the time to pay the price. So then he schemed right along and he made up a bomb to have his crew put Pan on ice. Lucky Tink came to the rescue, and she stopped the evil plan. And Captain Hook soon heard a tick and took a licking from the croc who ate up his hand. And he bad, 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 bad Captain Hook, baddest man in the whole damn book. Better than old Prince Hans, and meaner than my man Gaston. Well, the captain started swimming, but as the croc chomped down the con, it was Hook who looked like a jigsaw puzzle with a lot of the pieces gone. He was bad, 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 bad Captain Hook, baddest man in the whole damn book. Better than old Prince Hans, and meaner than my man Gaston. He was bad, 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 bad Captain Hook, baddest man in the whole damn book. Better than old Prince Hans, and meaner than my man Gaston. Yeah, he was better than old Prince Hans, and meaner than my man Gaston.
And Captain Hook gets his own song. From there, we moved on to the Beatles. But I was driving back from dinner with my family, and Penny Lane came on. You know, Penny Lane is such a classic Beatles song because of all the characters in it. that come up. You've got the nurse selling poppies and the barber and the banker and all these folks. And as soon as I kind of heard that line about Mother Goose and nursery rhymes, it was like, you're going to have so much stuff to work with. I don't know what it'll be, but it's going to work. And I know, Andrew, that you're a huge Beatles fan, so this one must have been fun to do.
It was, and guilty of my own hubris there for not listening to the song more carefully before I hit the recording studio there. So there was a verse that I misheard the first time around, but that all got straightened out in with another take. The Beatles really are an amazing group, the amount of stuff that they were able to accomplish in such a short amount of time. And that song is such an excellent example of what a great group of singers they were. And Paul McCartney in particular, those high notes are quite impressive. And from what I understand, he also had a bit of a moment with the piccolo player that they hired for the song, asking him to hit an impossibly high note on the piccolo solo, which I attempted to cover with a kazoo.
I've heard that may not be the only time he did that he had a French horn part, which I think is maybe on For No One, that they brought in the best French horn player in the land. And the reason that they had to do that is because Paul needed notes that are not in the traditional range of the French horn, and that only a virtuoso might be able to make that thing produce. So as the son of King Kazoo, which came up in our first special, maybe you can find some notes not in the traditional kazoo range and pull those in for us here at some point.
I'm going to keep pushing the range of that instrument. There's always some extreme on the low or the high end, or maybe some notes in between the official Western notes too that can be found.
All right, so here we go. After those various digressions, here comes Penny Lane, the Mother Goose version, here on Not Your Mother's Goose.
Oh, Mother Goose, she wrote the stories of your childhood, of little pigs and hungry wolves that huff and blow, and all the people you'll get to know. There's some weird ones, yo. On the corner there's a lady living in a shoe, and all her children eat their bread and hit the sack. Itsy bitsy spiders talking smack, till it starts to rain down the drain. Mother Goose is writing tales and nursery rhymes, where our heroes keep committing crimes. I'm looking at you, Jack. Out in the storm there is a princess looking for a bed. Under her mattress there's a pesky lumpy pea. You know the pea was put there by the queen, which is kinda mean. Mother Goose is writing tales and nursery rhymes. Horner Kid is eating pies with plums for little Jack. Upon a tuffet in the middle of Miss Muffet's yard, a different spider's looking for some curds and whey. But old Miss Muffet's not a fan today, so she runs away. In Drury Lane you've got the chance to meet the Muffin Man. Well, Frere Jacques once again is sleeping in, and the Emperor is flashing skin. He's a little vain, not a brain. Mother Goose is writing tales and nursery rhymes. There above the candlestick he flies. He's the most nimble Jack. Mother Goose is writing tales and nursery rhymes. All the classic stories of our times. Mother Goose.
Penny Lane turns into Mother Goose here on Not Your Mother's Goose. And Andrew, I know there's one little Easter egg there, those notes at the end that you wanted to talk about because that's something special.
That's right, Topher. There's 7 notes at the end there that I did not invent that part. That's on the version that you can hear on the Beatles anthology and a couple of other out-of-print releases. But it was originally on the Canadian single version of Penny Lane only. And I don't know why they took those notes out. I've always kind of liked them. So I thought I'd throw them in there as a homage to all the hardcore Beatles fans out there.
Well, speaking of the Beatles, one of the Beatles' influences for John and Paul especially was the Everly Brothers. So that makes a nice transition into our brand new song for this episode. We always want to have something new for you here, and Andrew's got something. This has been in the oven for a while, you might say, in that I thought that I could turn Wake Up Little Susie into Wake Up Sleeping Beauty a long time ago. And I took a swing at it and I got one verse and then I got stuck. And so I just sent it to Andrew and said, hey, hold on to this. Maybe we'll use it in a medley or something someday. And as he was getting ready to work on something for this episode, Andrew writes and says, do you want to take another try at that and just see if you can finish it off? If not, I'll just do it as a partial. But I went back to it, came up with a few new things, actually moved part of the first chorus, the Disney line towards the end, as you're going to hear. Andrew, this one must have been fun and a real challenge because trying to sing Everly Brothers harmonies is not something that the average person on the street does real easily.
Yeah, and one of those things you don't realize, they make it, Phil and Don Everly made it sound so effortless. And when you try to do it on your own, you immediately realize how hard it is to sing that tight harmony for an extended period of time. I had to mute the other track while I was recording one vocal and then mute that vocal and do the other one and then play them back together. So, but yes, the lyrics, I was looking through lyrics for songs that we hadn't done yet. And that one just jumped out for some reason that night that I was looking at it. And I'm so glad we took the time to put it back together as a full length song because it really works. I think that it's good to go back and add that extra verse sometimes.
Yeah, there you go. It's Garth Brooks with Friends in Low Places. Well,
right.
Here we go. It is Wake Up Sleeping Beauty, brand new music on Rapunzel's Jukebox, courtesy of Andrew Mitchell.
Wake up, Sleeping Beauty, wake up. Wake up, Sleeping Beauty, wake up. You got me zoned so deep, why can't you just utter a peep? Your movie's boring, it kinda sucks, 'cause all you do is sleep. Wake up, Sleeping Beauty, wake up, Sleeping Beauty. Snow White, she got an evil stepmama. Dwarfs, they put her out in a box. You just irked Maleficent, and now you nap a lot. Wake up, Sleeping Beauty, wake up, Sleeping Beauty. Well, we told those fairies set your alarm by 10. But Sleeping Beauty, you snooze right through again. Wake up, Sleeping Beauty, wake up, Sleeping Beauty. Your life is on hold. Wake up, Sleeping Beauty, wake up. Wake up, Sleeping Beauty, wake up. Well, Bambi's mama got shot. At least that show, it had a plot. You fell asleep, we sit and watch. Is Philip coming or not? Wake up, Sleeping Beauty, wake up, Sleeping Beauty. Well, gotta have a talking with Disney, gotta have a talking with Walt. Gotta get Aurora some Red Bull, 'cause she snores a lot. Wake up, Sleeping Beauty, wake up, Sleeping Beauty, wake up, Sleeping Beauty.
There it is, brand new music from Andrew Mitchell on Rapunzel's Jukebox on Not Your Mother's Goose. Gosh, Andrew, I love that. I still remember being really impressed on the first time. And you said, do you want me to try this again and so forth? And we're kind of like, well, there's just a couple little things. And then the leap forward to the second version was so worth it. So I'm so glad you did that. And I hope people appreciate that and what they just heard.
Thanks, Topher. I was pretty happy with that first take too for about 3 days. And then I started hearing all the things I could do differently with it. So I'm really glad we took the time to go back and polish it up a little bit better.
All right, well, that's going to wrap things up for this week, but we're only halfway home. We will be back in 1 week. You don't have to wait 3. We'll have it right next week for you. More behind the music on Not Your Mother's Goose. We'll take you through the rest of our parodies, and we hope, because we're actually recording this before it's done, but we hope Andrew's going to have even more new music for you with a little snippet, a short song segment for this next episode as well. So thanks for joining us so far, and we'll be back in a week with more on Rapunzel's Jukebox Behind the Music. Thank you again to Andrew Mitchell for joining us here and for everything he does for us musically on the show. Andrew will be back for part B of the special, which we're going to do next week, so you don't have to wait nearly as long as usual. We'll have more of our tunes, maybe something new if we're lucky, and a very big announcement of something special you definitely don't want to miss. Until then, I'm Topher Goggin and the Goose is loose. Keep the tunes rolling and go stock up on your quarters. We'll feed them back into the jukebox in 1 week here on Not Your Mother's Goose.